Round 6 of the FIM MX1 MX2 Motocross World Championship took place at Saint-Jean-d'Angely circuit in Western France, and Moto number 1 saw a terrible start for Tommy Searle as his championship competitor Jeffrey Hurling stormed into the lead early on race 1, on lap 1. Just behind him it was Jeremy Van Hoorbeek making it a Red Bull 1-2. Tommy Searle eventually fought through and found a way past Valentin Tellier to go third, but by then he ran out of time because Jeffrey Hurlings and Jeremy Van Hoorbeek were already too far ahead. But Jeffrey Hurlings, though, bouncing back after the disappointment of the Brazilian Grand Prix 2 weekends ago where he failed to make the podium, he was back to winning ways. So too, just behind him, was the number 89 of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, picking up another podium finish in the second race. Number 7, Arnold Tonus, made a return from injury and started in third for much of the race before finishing an eventual 7th. But Moto number 1 belonged to Jeffrey Hurlings. MX1, race 1, and Gauthier Paulin up the inside, but Tony Cairoli it was about 4 gates further down that thought he had the whole shot until Xavier Bourg came flying around the outside on the factory Kawasaki. And Xavier Bourg then eventually placed second to Cairoli in the early stage of the race. Gauthier Paulin, though, was on the charge and soon up into third place. Ken De Dijker and Mathis Caro were having their own little battle further down the field. De Dijker eventually coming home in 7th place. Clement de Sal found a way through on Rui Gonçalves. That put him into 5th place, where the Rockstar Energy Suzuki rider would eventually stay. And this was Gauthier Paulin going through on his teammate Xavier Bourg. That put him through into 3rd place and eventually closed down on 2nd place rider Christophe Pourcel and made this aggressive pass on his fellow French countryman. Tony Cairoli, though, was pretty much unchallenged at the head of the field on the Red Bull KTM. Until that was, Gauthier Paulin started to close in on the Italian 5-time world champion. But Tony Cairoli, though, kept his cool, kept his nerve, and took victory in Moto number 1. Gauthier Paulin was 2nd. MX2 race 2, and this time Tommy Searle got a better start, leaned in on Jeffrey Hurlings going down the start straight. The Dutchman not getting the cleanest getaway, but Tommy Searle then eventually found himself in 2nd position behind Arnold Tonus, who led for 3 laps. Tonus eventually fell to Tommy Searle. Just behind them, though, Jeffrey Hurlings eventually got caught up in a tangle with Arnold Tonus in the battle for 2nd position, leaving the Swiss rider a little bemused as to why he was taken out so aggressively in the midpoint of the race. That allowed Jeffrey Hurlings to go through into 2nd. Tommy Searle, though, was then the leader. He led from lap 4 all the way to the end of the moto. Just behind him, it was Jeffrey Hurlings. 3rd was the number 89 of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, and 4th, making a bit of a late surge, was Joel Roulants, but the win belonged to Tommy Searle. Hurlings came home in 2nd. That was good enough for him to win the Grand Prix. 3rd was the Jeremy Van Hoorbeek KTM. That was your podium as they finished pretty much. Jeffrey Hurlings, Tommy Searle and Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. And of course the red plate still belongs to Jeffrey Hurlings as we go to Portugal in 1 week's time.
Jeffrey, congratulations on winning the GP of France. You mentioned it was a bit harder out there in that 2nd moto.
Yeah, I had a bad start, but that's racing. Can always get a whole shot. I had a good start the last 2 times. So today, the last 2nd moto wasn't that great, but I fight back to 2nd place. And took me long to get there, but then finally I was a 2nd. I didn't ride the way I could, and I couldn't close up to Tommy. I was really heated up that I wasn't straight in his back wheel. But that's racing, and I hope to do better next time. Got to give the Red Bull Racing team did a great job, and I hope to come up with a win next week again.
MX1 race 2, Gauthier Paulin tried to anticipate the gate dropping early, but didn't do him any favours as once again Tony Cairoli swept through to take the whole shot. Just behind him was Stephen Frossart and number 19 David Philipparts. Tony Cairoli, though, made a mistake on lap 5, and this allowed Stephen Frossart to go through and gave the French fans something to cheer about. He was able to lead then for the next 4 laps until Tony Cairoli found a way back through. By then, David Philipparts had joined the party, and he then made a move on his teammate in the very next corner. So Frossart then went from 1st to 3rd in as, well, 2 corners. Then at the bottom of the hill, Gauthier Paulin made this pass on Clement de Sal that almost left both riders down on the deck. And then Christophe Pourcel eventually found a way up the inside of David Philipparts to go 2nd. Tony Cairoli, though, was simply sensational. He came over the line to win his 2nd race of the day, won the overall Grand Prix. Christophe Pourcel was 2nd to finish 2nd overall. Gauthier Paulin, after a mistake, finished third, and that gave him third overall in the Grand Prix. It was a good day here in France at Saint-Jean-d'Angely for Tony Cairoli and also the organisers of the Motor Club Algérien. Tony Cairoli winning yet another Grand Prix. He still leads a championship as well as we head to one of his favourite circuits in Portugal in 1 week's time.
Only in the end, I try to make some trouble with some lap rider, and I lose a lot of seconds. And Christophe was coming really close, but for me it was important to take the lead. Doesn't matter how far in front, but 25 points and 2 times 50 is good, and for the championship.
Well done. You keep hold of that red plate for the GP of Portugal.